best way to start, I was going to ask you, what do you kind of talk about when you come to things like you're going to do tonight? You know, what's kind of your general message you try to get out?
Oh, you know, I get a feel for the crowd, and one dinner I did when I was signing autographs and stuff, the people came through and found out one of the women that helped house the players to get them housing didn't iron her husband's shirts ever. So that was one of the things that I talked about up there was how to iron. I brought my iron down and I did this.
That's funny.
But no, I just, you know, baseball is the purest sport in that, you know, the Jay Cutler thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying perception is reality. Is it? Yeah. You know, I mean, he was standing on the sideline. Yeah. But because he wasn't headbutting, or because he wasn't jumping up and down and all this rah-rah stuff. Well, baseball is you pitch or you hit, and when you're done, you sit on the bench and you look. And you know, I've had a lot of guys that I played with that are totally. They're just, you know, you know that they would rather be someplace else, but they pitch and they're good and they got a chance to win, you know, and I'm sure that if the doctors would have let Cutler play, he would have played. Played the couple of weeks before with a concussion, you know, so knee, you know, this is what gets me, and you know, I mean, the poor guy is going to take this, but it's a sport, and people want to make a big thing out of Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler. If you look at what's happening in the world and all this stuff, what happened that Sunday is a speck of grain or a speck of sand in the Sahara Desert. And I think that we got to get it back into that perspective.
I was curious with baseball today, like, do you still watch a lot of baseball, and what do you kind of think of the current state of the game?
I watch as much baseball as I can. I can tell you, though, I watch Golf Channel more. But yeah, I've managed in independent ball, and I've got in fact, I'm working for a company now called MK Sports. We're a sports agent out of Sparta, New Jersey, and you know, we looking for good high round draft players, and. You know, so this spring I will be seeing a lot of college games. I'll be seeing a lot of college games, going out, looking at players, meeting them, talking to them, giving them your card, and you know, hopefully they'll get back in touch with you, according to NCAA rules. And I will not buy their jersey top from them.
No, one thing that catches me, because I know sometimes younger people don't always know, like, to pass that well. And do you ever run into people and they hear your name and they go, I know that from the surgery?
They think a lot of players in this era think I was the doctor that did the surgery.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking about that. Because it is kind of odd to have
players. You know, and this is what maybe Jay Cutler is. You know, Jay Cutler's a great talent. But he may not be a fan of football. Or have the passion for football. And I see that when I managed in the minor leagues and all, guys love the game. They love to play the game, and they're good at playing the game. But they didn't like the game. They weren't fans of the game. They didn't know the history of the game. To me, you've got to know the history of the game to know who made the game great and why it's great and what you can do down the road. And that was one of the things Marvin Miller had to drum into all of us when we were a fledgling union, you know, is that if we stay together as a group, we'll succeed as a group. But you can't do it as individuals. And you know, but these guys, they don't know. I guarantee you, the guys in the game today that got drafted, if you ask them who Marvin Miller was, they don't have any idea.
And I was curious too, like the other thing I was asking about the surgery thing was, do you ever have current athletes, do they ever try to get in touch with you if they find out they're going to need it? Or has anybody ever sought your advice on what it's like? Or I was just curious about that, you know.
No. Two reasons. One is probably ego, that you know, that they don't need help from anybody. And secondly, they probably don't know how to get in touch with me.
You know, I was just curious about that because it's kind of
But if they do, I would be happy. Can't tell them how they're going to do, but I can tell them what to expect.
How has it changed since you had it? Because I remember you were out for like a year and a half at least. Is it still about the same time?
I pitched. Well, I didn't. I hurt my arm in July of '74.
Yeah.
And I had surgery in September '74. So my first game was September '75.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a big league game because the season was over.
Yeah.
So the reason it was a year and a half is the time of year that I had it done. But I pitched in a ball game 1 year, 1 day after surgery.
Yeah. So it's still the same process of
Yeah,
coming back.
yeah. You know, the one thing that they can't speed up is the healing time. God heals. You will heal faster than me, and the next guy will be slower than me.
Yeah.
So there's not anybody that does it the same. It's you will be healed when you are healed.
Oh, yeah.
And it may be 12 months, it may be 15 months, it may be 11 months. I don't know.
And one thing I was curious about was, you played for two of the more famous franchises, in the Dodgers and the Yankees. So I was curious, what are some of the similarities you noticed with both organizations? What were some maybe the bigger differences?
Well, the big thing is that I liked is Old Timers Day.
Yeah.
Because you got to see, because I'm a historian of the game. I love to read about the game and all that. And you got to see who the great Dodgers were and who the great Yankees were. God, my first Old Timers game with the Yankees, there was Yogi, Bill Dickey, Elston Howard, Johnny Blanchard, Moose Skowron, Tommy Henrich, Gil McDougald, Lenz, Bobby Richardson, Clete Boyer, Dr. Bobby Brown, Mickey, Roger Maris, Vic Raschi was there, Whitey. You're sitting there, God, these are the guys I saw back in the 50s in the World Series and all this stuff. And you just sit there and, my God, and then the Dodgers, you would go in and all the great ones, it'd be Pee Wee and Newcomb and Campy and Drysdale and Koufax and Labine and Eddie Roebuck and Norm Larker and all these guys, and you just that's the history of that's what I loved. I love the history of the game of each team that I played for.
Now, was it weird because I watching the two World Series when I was a kid, is it weird to go from a team that beat you twice and then all of a sudden next year you're at their training camp? Is that kind of an odd experience? Because there was a little rivalry there with those two franchises.
It's like playing an inter-squad game.
Yeah.
And I hated to pitch those. God, I hated those. But, now you're in the World Series and I'm facing Davey Lopes but you just, I had a thing that they didn't know I had. I had Johnny Oates, who played with me with the Dodgers. I had him up in the clubhouse watching the game. Yeah. And after each inning, I would go up in the clubhouse and I said, what do you see? He said, next time up, watch Penguin, Roncey. Watch him, watch his feet. He'll try to take that ball and try and hit you out to right field. And he said, maybe you want to throw something out there and then come in with some breaking balls to get him off the outside part of the plate. Sure enough, I threw a sinker way, and he fouled it off down the right field line, and I threw him some curveballs in and got him out. But I had a spy in the sky, and it was Johnny Oates up in the clubhouse, and I valued Johnny's ability to catch. He was an outstanding catcher.
I was curious about the state of pitching today, because I know there's a lot of controversy about how often the pitch counts and all that. What's your kind of theory? Because you've obviously been through the arm experience, and
Here's my theory on it. Now, Dr. Jim Andrews spent 4 or 5 years studying Little League arms in Birmingham, Alabama. And he concluded that Little League pitchers, 12 years of age, can throw 85 pitches, but they've got to have 4 days rest, and then they can come back on the 5th day and pitch. 12-year-old kids can throw 85 pitches. 22 to 32 to 42-year-old pitchers who have strength coaches, massage therapists, acupuncturists can only throw 100 pitches.
Yeah.
One of those two numbers is wrong. Either Jim Andrews is flat wrong, or whomever said 100 pitches is one of those two is wrong. If a 12-year-old kid can throw 85, I'd be blasted if a big league pitcher can't throw 125, 130 every time out. Come on. Come on. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah. It's just weird to go back and look at the stats from the 70s and before and compare them to now.
I just go with Jim Andrews. 12-year-old kid can throw 85 pitches. you're a man. You've done all this stuff. You can only throw 15 more pitches. That's a bunch of bull.
I guess the last thing I wanted to ask you about, I was just curious myself, was, are you surprised that, Hall of Fame-wise, you didn't get more support? Because you have 288 wins and 2,000 strikeouts, and you were a 20-game winner 4 times. It seemed like somebody that has comparable numbers to some of the guys that are in there now.
Somebody did a comparison study, and my numbers are better than over half the pitchers in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But, maybe somewhere down the line I'll get in. If not, I won't.
Do you ever wonder?
I just hope that if I do get in, I hope I'm cognizant enough that I can, that I can give my speech and not have it read for me.
Oh yeah. Do you ever wonder? I mean, just because if you had the arm injury, I mean, you probably would have won 6 or 7 more games in '74. In a full '75 season, you would have easily gone over 300.
I would have gone 300, but being out the year plus helped my arm rehabilitate the whole thing, the shoulder and everything, and I never had shoulder problems ever.
Yeah.
And maybe one is but I played on a lot of teams with the '82 Angels. Luis Sanchez was our closer, and I think he had 6 saves.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of save help in those Angel era, and that's when I was throwing my best baseball.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much.